In a world in which magic and fantasy exist, on a plane known as Minas Ithil, there lives a young elf who, unbeknownst to her, has been chosen by the gods to shape the history of her world for generations to come. Blessed with incredible energy and a brilliant mind that would set her to be on the path that she could dictate on a whim, her tale begins at the Magi Academy, one of Minas Ithil's various schools that deal with the arcane and mystic nature of the creatures that inhabit it. Bright-eyed and full of enthusiasm, with dreams of becoming a renowned sorceress, she would take her first steps along the road to becoming a magus.
Is Tarathiel here? Tarathiel Thakarian?
Yes, present.
Schooling came easily for Tara. She was studious and focused with a proclivity for owning her intellect. As the only child of middle-class parents, she wanted desperately to prove her societal worth in a community where the High Elves sat on the throne, as well as at the top of the racial hierarchy. As the years went by, her academy masters would often comment on her diligent nature and propensity for spellcasting at such a young age. However, it wasn't until her final exams that the first hint of her true potential would make an appearance. She aced the written exams, not to anyone's surprise, but that was only half of it. All eyes were on the clever elf as she made her way to the combat arena for her final test.
All students will face off against the opponents selected by the faculty in a match that will test your combat abilities. We have paired each of you against another of the same skill to the best of our abilities. Hand-to-hand combat is permitted. However, you will be scored on your spell casting and choice of tactics. The match is over when a student forfeits or is unable to continue.
Tara's opponent would be a cocky young high elf boy by the name of
Arlen Vitoris, son of Iduin Vitoris.
Kid was a real piece of work. Athletic, handsome, and from an aristocratic family to boot. It's no wonder he had been the favorite coming into the competition. Shame about his personality, a bit of humility goes a long way. Tara trained predominantly in the woods on the outskirts of her town, so her opponents had been limited to the trees and targets she had painted crudely on their bark. Arlen's family had afforded him a much more formal training regime, and his confidence cemented the fact as he sauntered up the steps, blowing kisses to the crowd. Arlen wanted to prove a point that day. The strongest will always best the smartest. Brawn over brain. His confidence belied a seething jealousy of the lower-class elf because of the admiration she'd received over the years. He charges head first at Tara, eager to end the contest in a spectacular display of raw power. Tara's eyes fix on Arlen as she studies the anger behind them. But she's unprepared for such an aggressive attack, so paralyzing fear stills her. It all goes black. And then, nothing. Slowly, she blinks her vision back into focus. Center stage. A previously cocky Arlen was rolling in agony, writhing inside a blanket of flames. In that instant, Tara thought she saw an apparition in her likeness, burning bright like a phoenix. But such a spell was only cast by the eldest and the most venerable of the Magi. Tara's display that day did not go unnoticed. Talk of her performance spread like dragon's breath.
Child elf who summons phoenix flame? Ha!
They would jest. You'd have to see it to believe it. With her wits and affinity for the arcane, it wasn't long before the military stepped in and made an offer with but a single choice. Her parents protested, but to no avail. and Tara was enlisted shortly into the Magi Guild. Zatarath, one of Minas Ethel's oldest and proudest structures, a revered place and home to the largest library in all of the land, where the arcane arm of the Elf King's military are groomed. It would be here at Zatarath that Tara would learn a great deal about herself, her history, and of loss. Tara stayed for many years at the guild, most of her time spent within the comfort of the grand halls of the guild's library. She consumed all manner of scrolls and texts as if the fate of Minas Ethel itself depended on it. Like the academy before it, Zatarath mandated competition between the mages to ensure their theory was put into practice. Tara's progress was unrivaled. By this stage, her immense knowledge of the arcane and seemingly limitless energy cemented her as the top-performing magi before long. You'd think that'd be a great way to make friends. Unfortunately, her accomplishments drew a border so vast between her and her peers that she inadvertently ostracized herself from their company. The now prodigious and unpopular elf longed for companionship, something she couldn't find in any book. Then one evening, Tara spied a beautiful dryad between the bookshelves. Her name was Nephele, and Tara thought her breathtaking. Now I don't know who seduced who, but those two got along like a pair of dwarves over a keg of mead. They spoke for hours as the full moon stretched across the night sky to complement the blanket of stars that sprawled across the infinite expanse. Tarathiel and Nephele. Well, let's just say that night they shared a moment Tara would never forget. The nymph presses away from Tara with such urgency that she stumbles back, her eyes widening and full of terror. Confused and afraid, Tara thrusts forward an outstretched hand, but it's too late. Smoke billows from Nephele's lips, and in an instant the dryad is consumed in a blinding burst of white flames. By the time Tara's eyes adjust, there is nothing left of Nephele but a wisp and the ashes left at our heroine's feet. Tara's hysterical screams filled the night air, and for the first time since that day at the academy, she felt that she might be truly cursed.